Welcome to In the Mood to Scrap. This is Kristina Nicolai-White. My layout is based on this mood board called Collections by user Lucy in the Sky. It was linked on a message board thread on our board by Penny Lane. Since our theme this month is photos and focusing on photos, I decided I wanted to do a layout about all of the photos I have in my digital library. I like this concept so much, I may even do this as a mini album at some point, but I decided to start with a layout, as you can see here. I'm going to start by showing you all of my supplies. I've got my basic tools here, my scissors, my glue, all the different glues I like. I may even use some paint, so I've got my paintbrush, a pen, and my favorite pencil. I also have here some paint and some spray, some different mist. I pre-printed my photo. This is like an 8 by 10. I did a photo collage on my computer using Aperture of a whole bunch of different photos, and I pre-cut that. I'm going to cover it with vellum because I want it to be a little less bright. I want the colors to be a little muted. I'm going to use white cardstock here, which I've pre-cut. I'm an 8.5 by 11 scrapbooker, so I need a cut. I've got some different paper scraps I'm going to use. I know I'm going to use some border strips and things, so I've got those here ready and waiting. These are from Crate Paper, the Maggie Holmes collection and DIY collection, as well as this strip with some days on it that I've had sitting on my desk for a while. It's from Echo Park. I've got some old book pages that I got in an old kit that we had to make for Maggie Holmes workshop, but any pages will do. This paper from the Maggie Holmes Crate Paper collection. Just a couple other pieces of paper I'm going to show you. I may or may not be using them, but I'm not quite sure yet exactly what I'm going to do, so I've got them sitting here. There's Studio Calico. There's more of that Maggie Holmes paper. This is from the Atlantic collection from Studio Calico. There's this wood grain Echo Park. Just some tag cuts and things from Crate Paper. Like I said, not quite sure what I'm going to use, but I want to leave my options open. That one I may use the border on. I'm not sure yet. I've also pre-cut some cut files. We have a new digital cut file section at 2Ps, and these are some of the borders that I've pre-cut. I think I want them in black. Camera cut. I'm placing it on that vellum because I think I kind of want it to not see through that little hole where the heart is. And I've also gone ahead and pre-cut my numbers using my silhouette. This is from the American typewriter font, and I think I'm going to be using those for my main title. Moving all of those things aside, I'm also going to be using one or two of these slide holder frames. This is from Crate Paper. This is their new collection, the Pier. I really like these little slide holders. I've also gathered a few die cuts and things. These are from Crate Paper, the Maggie Holmes collection, the Party Day collection. These are all from their little die cut packages that you have, and just a random white tag that I might be using. And I've got a few things here. These are from Chic Tags, little die cut packages. Whoops. That I'm not quite sure exactly what I'm going to use, so I kind of just pulled these things together. Some stickers. I may use some of these Amy Tan or Crate Paper stickers, and probably some enamel dots. I love the enamel dots, so quick and easy to use, and some breads. These ones are from Simple Stories. So I'm ready to get started. I'm kind of going to start by laying things out. As I said, I'm an 8.5 by 11 scrapbooker. I generally do 2 pages, so I've pre-cut my pattern papers and my cardstock to 8.5 by 11, though I want to use this white one across both pages. I'm just going to kind of lay things out. This is where I want my photo to be, and as I said earlier, I'm going to cover it with vellum to kind of mute it a little bit, just make sure that it fits correctly, and that's where I want it to lay. And I'm going to just, as I said, lay things out, see how they fit, how they feel. Play around with things, push things around a little bit, and put my letters here. I have to kind of also make sure when I'm doing this and doing 2 pages that I'm aware of that cut line right down the middle where it becomes 2 pages, not just 1. But I always lay it out like this before I cut things and make that cut strip down the middle. I'm pretty sure I want to use this cut file underneath this title, but I'm not sure yet. I know I want to use this quote that I'd cut out from the Maggie Holmes paper. These are the many moments in my life. I know I'm going to have to cut off some of the edges because it's 12 inches and my page is only 11. I love this black and white diagonal print. I want to kind of make sure that I leave that triangle chevron going down the center of that black paper on the edge. I like that it is equidistant on both sides of the arrow pointing down. So I'm trying to make sure I keep everything to the side of that, to the right of that. Just bits and pieces, just kind of moving them around a little bit here and there. I'm not sure if I want this tag to go underneath that dictionary paper, if I want it to be above it. I didn't really rip the paper long enough if I wanted it to show up underneath it as well as over the top of it. So I'm just going to keep kind of moving things around here, playing around with it, getting a general idea of where I want it to go. If I leave that white tag above the dictionary page, then I don't have to use the vellum underneath it. It just goes right over the top of that white tag like that. But I was kind of hoping to do my journaling on it, so I may not leave it that way. I kind of wanted it actually to sit above things, but I'm just going to keep moving it around a little bit. I know I want to add some aqua in here. I really like the black and white and aqua feeling. I kind of want to pull that in for my photos. It's really the only other color, maybe a little bit of pink or red I might pull in. So I've pulled these two pieces of paper and this little label. Not sure, again, if I want to cover up that black and white strip. So I'm going to keep kind of moving that around a little bit, maybe add a few more pieces. I really want to give us a layered look on this side. Makes it kind of busy. I'm going to maybe add this die cut. I really liked adding the number 5 in. I have 5 people in my family, so we kind of make a big deal about the number 5. I think I'm actually going to put this on vellum, keep it all together, and that way I don't have to worry about what's underneath it, and that way you can't really see what's in that circle behind that heart. Maybe kind of play this tag, move it around. Yeah. I think I've got things kind of where I think I'm ready to start adhering and putting things down. Just going to kind of shift things around one more time. This is the general idea, I think, of where I want things to go. I know I want to put this frame here. That particular picture in the corner is the 5 of us. So I think that I'm pretty much ready to start adhering this, cut my photo down the center where I need it to go, and start laying this out. So I've got almost everything adhered here. I've got a few more things to do. I added a couple of things here. This little tag item from Chic Tags, I cut apart a couple of things there. I'm pretty sure that's where I'm going to put that camera cut. And as you can see, I did end up sticking that tag underneath. I ended up adding this little green one just to add a little bit more color. I actually liked this little green bit with the red and the aqua, so I'm just going to adhere that. I had to rip it in order to make it fit. It was just a little too long for underneath there. Adhere my camera cut that I did. This is one of our digital cuts from 2Ps. Like I said, I put it on vellum so you can see through it, but not all the way through it. Stick that there. I put this little tag up here from Chic Tags. I cut a couple of pieces off. This little triangle here was part of that same little red and white striped tag that I have down at the bottom. And I think I might use my stapler and staple this "We Are Here" tag at the top. And then I think I just have a couple more things to do, and then I'm going to call this layout done. Lots of layers, lots of things, lots of colors and additions to those photos. And I may end up doing a little bit of journaling on that tag and maybe even some enamel dots and some accessories yet. But right now, everything is glued on. So after sitting on this layout a little bit and doing a little bit more decorating on it, I decided I didn't really like this large color photo and these large numbers. It just wasn't feeling quite right. With all of the layers and things, it just felt a little too busy. And I wanted to add a little bit more white space around the photos. So I'm actually going to show you how I tore this layout apart. So what I've done here is left that complete left side intact. I decided I liked that. But I went back and reprinted that photo collage in black and white and made it smaller. I'm going to still cover it with vellum so that the pictures are a little muted, even though they are black and white. I just don't want them as prominent. But you can see that I made them smaller so that there's more white space all the way around, and it's not like meeting that pattern paper all the way over to the left. I'm just going to crop off the extra white space that I have on this photo. Okay, that's done. Now I'm just going to kind of place it and making sure I know exactly where I want to cut it. Obviously, as I said before, since I do a two-pager, I have to cut it down the middle. I'm just going to kind of mark that. I want it to be equidistant on both sides, have the same amount of white space on both sides of it. I'm not really concerned that I might be cutting through someone's face on this. This photo, while it is the main focus of my layout, there's something stuck there, sorry about that. That's what happens when you have a little bit of adhesive left over from when you've ripped things apart, a little hazard. Like I said, I'm not really worried about cutting someone's face or doing something like that because this isn't really my main focus. I'm going to cover it with some title work and some vellum, so I'm not really concerned. I do, however, want to make sure that I have it lined up perfectly on my two pages so that they meet exactly in the middle. So I am going to make sure that I take the time to make sure that my photo as well as my design meet exactly perfect on both sides. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere those down, this photo. As you can see, I'm constantly removing this and making sure that my pages are exactly the same, matching up on the top and the bottom and equal. Since I've done this my whole scrapbooking life, my 8.5 by 11 two-pagers, I'm used to doing this. But some people find it helpful to use a mat with a guide mark on it. You can see my really technical way of making sure I cut things where I need to. I just make an indentation with my fingernail. And then take it, my vellum over to my trimmer and cut it. Not very scientific, but it seems to work just fine for me. I'm okay with that. Just wanting to make sure that I have that even and equal and that my pictures are laid down right. Lining up as always, making sure this works right. Not a very technical process, but something that takes a little bit of time anyway. I'm not going to adhere that vellum down quite yet because I want to be able to hide it. So I'm going to pull my pieces that I had from before and adhere them down. When I ripped off this chipboard, I ripped off the backing and the adhesive, so I have to make sure I put it on differently with a new set of adhesive. And when I reprinted this, the photo ended up in a different place that I wanted to do, so my design is changing just a little bit from the original design. These have a little bit of adhesive left on them, these cut files, and I like that I cut them already for the two pages for that first layout, so it's really easy for me just to snip this on here and adhere it to the page. Not a lot of adhesive needed. I may put a little bit more on the back of it just to make sure that it sticks, but underneath that is where I want to hide my adhesive for my vellum because I don't want it to show through somewhere else on the photo. Just making sure I have that lined up square. It doesn't look quite square. I'm not sure if it's my vellum or not, but so I'm going to put my strip of adhesive behind that black cardboard border cut. Now it's definitely not in line, so I'm definitely going to have to move it. Hoping not to tear up my picture when I'm moving things around here as I take it off. Luckily, this little dot adhesive from Scotch is easy to reposition. Just going to make sure that's adhered down. There's a little bit of adhesive stuck to my photo, so it's sticking as I take it up. Making sure these all line up correctly. Get that stuck down on there. Gonna just kind of jimmy it around a few times to make sure. I may have to pull that other side up again to make sure that it's all straight. Excuse my head while I look over the top to make sure I have it right. And I didn't, so I'm gonna move that around. I think I've got that where I want it, so I'm just going to press down more firmly, making sure that I have everything adhered where I want it to be. Okay, then these were the letter stickers that I used. These are thicker from Amy Tan. I'd had these as a finishing touch on the other layout, or the other part of this layout, not the other layout. I'm just going to lay them on here. I want to make sure that these lowercase letters are down a little bit more so that the H and the T line up above them so that they're more correct. I kind of like layering these O's on the end of the tails of those cursive letters since they were cursive. This is what it looked like before with the big letters, and you can see how dominating that was. I'm going to use these Jelly Bean Soup. I really, really like these new letter stickers, these alpha beans. I like them in this gray font. I kind of like that it isn't as predominant and as shocking and startling as the dark gray that I was using before. I kind of like that this blends in just a little bit. It's a little more modern, I guess. and it's a nice small font. So I'm just going to make sure I got that little comma on there just right and put these on there as my title. Lay these on. I like the way this looks so much better already. I feel like the layout, the photos just really look so much better than they did with that big color one. I'm going to use this as well and add some more since I put new vellum on so there isn't any up at the top. First I'm going to go through and maybe add a few enamel dots. I think I want to put this gray here. I don't know for sure. I might want to put the black. I really like the little finishing touches that enamel dots have, and they're just so easy to use. I'm just going to check out this black one. This is from the new Rana Fair kits, and it's got a nice little black enamel dot on it. So I'm going to kind of just see, I like that it has a clear backing so I can kind of lay it and play with it a little bit. I think I'm going to go with this gray one. Just add a few extra touches on here. Maybe get a lighter gray one so that I have two different colors. I like to do multiple colors, not the same the same ones all over. Maybe black. No, I think I'm going to grab a light gray. These are all from My Mind's Eye. These are from the Oliver. The other set that had the gray was from the Ruby collection. Nice big fat light gray one there. I like the way that trio looks. Now I'm going to just put a piece of cardboard backing underneath here so that I don't get mist all over my desk. Although, as you can see, it is kind of already misted and adhesive and everything else. I'm just going to shake it. I'm not going to actually spray it out of the sprayer. I'm going to just keep dipping the little end in and then shaking really hard and tapping. This is a lighter gray. I also used a darker gray. I think it was Pinstripe from Studio Calico. This one is a Tattered Angels spray that I'm putting up here. I want to have two different colors. I want to try and get a little bit onto that vellum, add a little bit of dimension. You can see I also added some washi tape and a wood veneer asterisk up at the top. Just going to make sure I put a little bit more on this bottom also, a little bit more shaking of this. I got a really big drop there on my vellum. Don't want that. And since it's vellum, it didn't adhere or soak in right away, so I can kind of get that just with my finger. Otherwise, I would use a paper towel and leave some handy with me all the time. Just keep shaking it until I'm happy. I may even tap the paper a couple of times with the end of it just to get a little bit more. But I think that's about it. Let me see. I think I like it just like that. I think I like this so much better. I'm glad that I took that color photo off. And here it is all finished. Thank you for watching.